Welcome to the Neuropath. Module 1, we want to welcome you. Ashika and I are so excited and honored to be joining you on this journey of the Neuropath. One thing we want to get out of the way in the very beginning, what Ashika and I share, this is not medical advice. We're not telling you to start or stop any prescription medication, fitness routine, supplementation, anything of that nature. That is a decision that is solely between you and your medical provider. So what we are going to explain here relative to GLP-1 medication is a generalized overview. It's for informational purposes, and it's to help you have a little bit of an understanding. Maybe you're thinking about starting a GLP-1 weight loss journey. Maybe you've just started it. We want to provide you kind of a 30,000-foot overview of what GLP-1 medication is, what it isn't, what it does, and what it doesn't do. And as a nutritionist who knows a lot about feeling safe in the body and nervous system regulation, and as a licensed professional counselor, we're going to speak a lot to what it isn't as we go on throughout this module. So start us off with what GLP-1 medication is.
So GLP medication is a naturally occurring hormone that helps to suppress your appetite. It helps to slow down the digestion of food so you feel full longer. It also helps keep your stomach stretched so you do feel um, full longer. It helps to block out that food noise that we all hear about as well. And it does help to trigger a balance in your blood sugar levels.
Awesome. So it's got a lot of different physiological things that GLP-1 medication is helping to do. There's also some things that it's not helping to do, right? So, and one other thing I would add relative to the GLP-1 medication is that it's helping with that turn down that connection between dopamine and food, right? So when you're thinking about, oh my God, I'm so excited to get this big cheeseburger, that anticipation, dopamine is driving that desire to go get that cheeseburger, right? GLP-1 medication is going to help to turn down that connection, not with dopamine altogether, but that connection between dopamine and food, right? So talk a little bit about, why sometimes people feel disoriented or uncomfortable when they're starting GLP-1 medications, kind of along the lines of stomach acid.
So what happens is when when we consume a certain amount of food, our body, or we've trained our digestive system to create a certain amount of digestive juices, is what we'll say. Um, so with the GLP-1, what it does is when it suppresses the hunger and you're only taking smaller levels of food in or consuming smaller levels of nutrients, your gut or your digestive system still remembers that it used to function on certain amount or a certain amount of nutrient intake. Now, what happens is when you are consuming a lower dose of those nutrients, your stomach acid still produces the same amount as though it was before. So what you now need to do is to train your stomach and your digestive juices to create a smaller amount so you don't lead to overproduction of stomach acid. You don't lead to the acid reflux, which some people say that they feel. You also don't lean towards getting IBS, so other uncomfortable symptoms that can arise from an increased level of stomach acid.
So the GLP-1 medication is causing somebody to have less hunger, less appetite. Of course, probably most people know that. But the nausea or the stomach discomfort or the acid reflux is coming from the fact that your body is still producing the same amount of stomach acid as it was for how you were even eating previously, but now there's less food. And so that's why that disconnect happens. Okay, so how speak as a nutritionist about how you can teach your body how to produce less acid.
Oh, that's a great question, and I love that. Now, the thing is that our body is always ready to learn. We just need to understand the cue of when to teach it. So if you're somebody who is looking into or are taking the GLP or is taking the GLP-1 medication, is to start understanding how to put a GLP plate together or to understand how to refeed your body, maybe smaller portions, understanding that yes, it suppresses your hunger, but it does not suppress the need for nutrients. So really understanding the size of your plate, but understanding the size of your nutrient.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Okay, sure. Yeah. So you can't necessarily train your gut to produce less acid, but you can just structure a GLP-1 plate that's well balanced. It's got a lot of the different nutrients that you still need. So even though you're eating smaller because GLP-1 has reduced your appetite, what you're teaching people then is, hey, how do I still make that plate full with all the full, no play on words there, with all of the different micro and macronutrients that my body is still used to releasing.
That's right. And the key thing to understand here is you need to be patient with your body because it's going to be going through a lot of relearning and adjusting while you're on the GLP medication. That's why when you feel the nausea, for some it may be short-lived, but it's really training your body to understand, okay, I'm feeling nauseated because this is what's happening in your stomach. Now I'm listening to this certain module, you understand what is happening. Now going forward, you now understand that I have to look at my plate. What is it that I'm feeding? If it's high in protein and fat, it's actually going to help that stomach acid. It's going to help decrease the stomach acid. If it is high in glucose or if it is something that is highly acidic in your diet, that will amplify that effect. So this is where nutrition kicks in, but the understanding of nutrition and how that affects the reaction of the GLP medication.
Okay. So we've identified what GLP medication is. It's helping to reduce the appetite. It's helping you to stay fuller longer. It's helping to turn down that connection between dopamine and food. Okay. I think we are also starting to understand within the medical community, not so much our colleagues, but more on the medical side of things, some other health benefits of GLP-1 medication, perhaps, limiting inflammation. That's a topic for another module or another course. But, we're starting to see perhaps there's some other benefits to GLP-1 medication. So that's what GLP-1 medications are. Is there anything else that's missing there relative to what GLP-1 medication is?
Well, GLP-1 medication does not shut off the emotional hunger.
Yeah. So GLP-1 medication, I think what you're saying there is that's where it stops,
That's
right?
what's
GLP-1 medication is the physiological and everything that we just mentioned. What it is not is what you just shared there. So let's use that as a springboard to dive in. So what GLP-1 medication is not. It is not a way to rewire your central nervous system. It is not a way to deal with any emotional trauma type of relationship you may have with food. GLP-1 medication is not a way to reset your self-image in an internal sense of self-image. It absolutely will reset your self-image externally, because you're likely going to have significant changes in your weight. And so for the external self-image, it will change it, but it's not going to change it relative to an internal self-image. So I think that that's an important point to make relative to hunger. So it's turning down physiological hunger to the extent that it's disrupting the relationship between dopamine and food. It's kind of turning down a little bit in the sense of emotional hunger. But at the end of the day, it's not doing anything to hardwire and reset emotional hunger. Could you speak to that?
Now, so when it comes to that emotional hunger, and it's not really helping you understand or deal with why you got to that certain weight or why you got to
Have that relationship with food.
relationship with food.
Yeah, it's okay. It's frustrating, right? It's frustrating for people because many people don't understand. No, but I think that that's actually so critical. There's such a great point. I want to use that moment because it's, why do I have
Frustrating.
this relationship with food? Well, it's frustrating, but we also want you to know that we understand maybe this is not something that's spoken about so much within the medical community, right? Is why do I have to have this relationship with food? I don't want to have this relationship with food. I don't feel good after I eat the bag of Doritos. I don't feel good after I go through that drive-through, right? And there is that frustration. There is that shame. There is that self-guilt. The GLP-1 medication is not fundamentally changing that, right? It may help to turn it down so you don't want the food or have as strong of a desire for the food. But it is not going to stop that frustration of, oh gosh, why do I keep going to this? Why do I keep going to this food as a way to cope or to, self-soothe myself, right? So these are all of the things that GLP-1 medication is not. And it's very important for us to highlight that for you in this module of understanding, hey, what GLP-1 medication is and what it is not. Relative to the medical stuff, the medical side of things, that is between you and your provider. We're giving you here this 30,000-foot overview so you can have an understanding of what it is to expect when you're on your GLP-1 use. You're on your GLP-1 journey. We're here to highlight for you more so what it is not. It's not going to reset your central nervous system to teach you how to learn how to self-regulate. Okay? It will impact, while you're on the GLP-1 medication, it will have an impact on the vagal nerve, right? It will impact certain areas of those bodies, parts of your brain, but it's not going to reset the body, right? It's not going to have any permanent change to those areas of the brain. So I'm not going to take GLP-1 medication and then just never again have any kind of food noise or emotional hunger or have any struggles in that regard. No, it's helping me temporarily while I'm on the drug, but it's not permanently resetting that. And so one of the things that we're going to get into, or some of the things that we're going to get into through the neural path, is helping to teach you to understand how to regulate, how to feel safe in your body. And so as we teach you those things, then when you come off the medication, now you have an understanding of, okay, I can do this to self-regulate, right? These are all the things that GLP-1 medication is not.
Yeah, and I would like to mention that, we hear a lot of people talk about the food noise. Mm-hmm. And what we want to also say here is that you don't have to be afraid of that food noise, okay? That food noise is a powerful signal that something needs to shift. That's how I want everyone to look at the food noise. Yeah. Let's stop being afraid of it. It's okay to say, I hear food noise. It's okay to say it out loud and to use it as a compass to do something about it, to create and reduce, to create the life that you want and to reduce that noise. So let's take that
stigma.
Thank you. That's a great word for us. Let's remove that stigma right here, right now.
Yep, I love that. And I think as the participants in the neural path come along the journey with us, right, they're going to start to see and understand we're only coming from a place of compassion, no judgment. I'm not perfect. Are you perfect?
No.
You're not.
I like to think I am, but I'm not.
Okay. I'm not perfect, and I don't even pretend to think that I am perfect. I am not, right? And neither are any of you. So let's give ourselves grace. Let's give ourselves compassion. Compassionate inquiry as we think about and explore some of these topics and food and trauma and our relationship with food and emotional hunger. Let's have grace. Let's have compassion. Let's have self-love as we go through this transformational journey together. And Ashika and I are going to teach you, okay, how to regulate your central nervous system, how to have that metabolic reset and understanding, because these are things that at a fundamental level, the GLP-1 medication is not doing for you.